Kutaisi is the center of Emirati, one of the most beautiful regions, and the second capital of the country. Present-day natives of Kutaisi are descendants of ancient Colchians. Based on the Greek historian Strabo, it was here, in the old part of the city, on the bank of the river Ioni, where King Aias' palaces were located and where the Golden Fleece was preserved. This is the place from where Medea started to Greece together with Jason. In the 11th century AD, Kutaisi became the capital of United Georgia. Even after 10 centuries, Bagrat's cathedral, the symbol of United Georgia, looks down to the city as its savior. Kutaisi has been justly regarded as a stable economic area. The occurrence of the elaborated banking system greatly facilitates the development of big and average businesses. Increasing investments from the world's leading banks and insurance companies speak about the sound climate for business in this area. Kutaisi has become a venue for some government organizations. It is one of the first projects for the decentralization of the country. Kutaisi can be unhesitatingly recognized as a city of rich sports traditions. The numerous medals from various European and World Championships and Olympic Games preserved in the Sports Museum attest to the above said. Theater goers can enjoy the drama theater, which is 150 years old, the puppet theater, the mask theater, and the magnificent opera house. The art gallery will host those keen on painting. It exhibits great masters of the Georgian School of Fine Arts who have worthily occupied their place in the artistic history of the world. In the art gallery Varla, you will be able to see new talents together with renowned names. You can come closer to history and culture of the past in the Museum of Ethnography. The exhibition begins with the rich paleontologic data from the prehistoric age. Of particular interest are the unique metallurgical collections of Colchic culture from the Bronze Age and artifacts of church art. Historical monuments, having been created since the Antiquity epoch till the 20th century, clearly shape a visitor's views about Georgian tolerance, national identity, and past. Their dislocations within the wonderful Emiratian landscape have been greatly impressive. Each of these monuments fascinates both experts and tourist groups. However, it is the people living here and their rich hospitality traditions that make both Emirati and the city of Kutaisi particular. Here, statues to ordinary individuals have been erected for their being good citizens. It is a statue to Otar Sulaberidze. No regalia, the city misses the man, a charming, noble, chivalrous, selfless personality. Ilo Khakhiashvili was a photographer. He worked in the studio situated under the staircase and charmed every visitor with his high-mindedness. Frequently, he too worked free of charge. And this is why every individual, having once visited the second capital of Georgia, tries to come back here. These girls, wearing the uniforms of 19th century high school students, play the roles of their beautiful predecessors. A century ago, when in Kutaisi sweet songs were played on a guitar with a bow, young men walked hand in hand with ladies along the boulevard and treated them to lemonade and chocolate. High school girls, led by Sasha Chikovani, a recognized beauty queen, used to organize a chamomile activity. Fellows carried a money box and girls carried a basket full of chamomiles. Kutaisians used to buy chamomiles and fix them on their chests. It was a charity activity, and it was an honor to participate in it. Donated money was allocated for the treatment of the most frequent diseases in the city. Presently, tuberculosis is no longer on the agenda. However, the charity activity is still in effect in our days. On May 2nd, Kutaisians still gather together with their guests in order to demonstrate respect to each other and to share warm feelings in order to give the city another holiday. The celebrations start at Bagrat's Cathedral and last till late at night. Everyone can find a desired place for recreation. Demonstration of Kutaisi beer in the central square and the festival of Emiratian wine at the Golden Marquee, the royal summer residence of Georgian kings. Sommeliers taste homemade wines and reveal the best of all. Together with the wine festival, the Golden Marquee hosts the plein air exhibition of the works by artists and photographers. The demonstration of ancient Georgian martial arts attaches great interest in the boulevard. Military equipment and national clothing bring us closer to the history of this brave nation. Nearby, there is an international tournament of strongest men. It is difficult to watch it without emotions. Sportsmen's trained muscles make spectators tense. There is a horse race in Mukhnari Forest. There are business conferences, concerts, fashion shows. A column of twin cities is opened in front of City Hall. The 2nd of May is the day of Kutaisi, the day of the recollections of the unforgettable past. In the year 326, Georgia changed its historical perspective. The Georgian people adopted Christianity. Monasteries, having been built for religious purposes, soon became centers of education and culture. The architecture of Georgian monasteries manifests excitement with life. Irrespective of the monumental character of their steady walls, they do not arouse tragic feelings. They are peculiar with their fine and harmonic proportions. Bagrat's Cathedral, after St. Virgin's Dormition, a brilliant monument of culture and architecture, can be viewed from any part of the city. The church complex built by King Bagrat III was the cultural and religious center of the time. Bishop's Hill, where the Bagrat's Cathedral was erected, was a royal residence. Later, the cathedral became the symbol of the unity of the Georgian people. In the 10th, 11th centuries, it was this place from which King Bagrat III managed to unify the country, having been disintegrated among various principalities, and he declared Kutaisi a capital of united Georgia. In the 18th century, invaders destroyed the cathedral. However, its surviving parts, its bas-reliefs and ornaments can fascinate any visitor. The Georgian Renaissance started after the enthronization of the great King David the Builder at Bagrat's Cathedral in the 11th century. In the 12th century, cultural development was so comprehensive that it influenced the cultural lives of neighboring nations in the Middle East. However, it was not a unilateral process. Georgian culture was characterized of the merge of Western and Oriental trends with the national traditions, in the center of which there was a human being. In 11 kilometers distance from Kutaisi, King David the Builder erected the complex of Gelati Monastery, one of the outstanding archaeological monuments. The Gelati Academy, included in the archaeological complex, became the largest cultural, historical, scholarly, and educational center of the Middle East. The Academy performed the same educational function as the universities of Paris and Bologna established in that period of time. The monastery is surrounded by the citadel. The central facility is St. Virgin's Cathedral, with surviving artistic and cultural artifacts as the mosaic and frescoes of Gelati. Here you can also find the only existing fresco of David the Builder. King David's grave is situated in the original gate of the wall. It was the will of the great king. He wanted every visitor to walk over him. Galati has been a pearl of medieval culture. Together with Bagrat's Cathedral, it is under the protection of UNESCO as the world's historical and cultural heritage. Vine and man have been said to have emerged on the Georgian land at one and the same time. In deep geological layers, archaeologists discovered vine leaves and grape stones of cultural breeds in clay pots. There are studies by European scholars stating that it was Georgia from where winemaking entered Europe. Georgia can be rightfully regarded the homeland of wine. The high culture of winemaking in ancient Georgia has been evidenced by Georgian traditions. In villages of Imereti, every self-respecting farmer thinks that he ought to have his own vineyard. The rules for vine farming and winemaking have been retained since times immemorial. It is a matter of dignity to adhere to them. Owing to the fertile soil and diligent work, 450 indigenous breeds of vine have reached our days. Picked bunches of grapes are carried in large wooden baskets. A Georgian wine press is unique. It is made of a big, solid log. In it, grapes are pressed with one's legs. This is the subtlest technique for receiving syrup as far as each grape is pressed evenly, while other parts are not damaged. Wine made in a wine press is characterized of mildness and harmony. Its taste can be uniquely preserved. A pitcher used to be an unrivaled reservoir in the Georgian wine cellar. Its fidelity survives tens of centuries. It has been a pitcher with which traits of Georgian wines have been associated. A clay pitcher buried underground naturally creates a less changeable temperature regime. These are ideal conditions for the alcoholic boiling, settlement, and fermentation of the syrup. A pitcher is optimal both for receiving of wine and its development. When traveling along the highway between Tbilisi and Kutaisi, you can observe the winery Khareba. It were contemporary wineries that earned popularity for Georgian indigenous wines all over the world. Imeretian Tsitska, which is ideal for making exquisite, sparkling wines. Tender and pleasant Solikouri and Krahuna, which develop tenderer taste and strong bouquet after 15 years. Their descriptions are available in international and paleographic studies. Ancient Colchians used to drink these wines. History does not tell us which was the wine which Aids treated Jason. We may assume that it was Otskhanuri Sapere. These breed must be treated very carefully. Very exquisite wine is made of it. Otskhanuri Sapere occupies a considerable area in this vineyard. The company produces red dry wine being consumed in Ukraine, Germany, United Kingdom, Canada, and United States. It is the best with its intensive color, tenderness, harmonic taste, liveliness. At the tasting room of the winery Khareba, you can come across the rarest Usakhelouri, grown only in 7 villages of Sagari district. The famous Khanchkara from Racha, Ojaleshi from Megrelia, Aladasturi from Guria, Saperavi, Mukuzani, and Katsiteli from Kakheti. Vintage is one of the most emotional periods in autumn. In this period, tourists can perceive the same feelings as ancient Colchians, take part in every stage of grape picking and winemaking. Beside wine, Georgians use grape must for making a churchela. Walnuts or hazelnuts are threaded onto a string, dipped in thickened grape juice, and hung to be dried. The completion of vintage is always celebrated with a banquet, Georgian supra. The menu of the Georgian supra is particularly diverse. Emiratian khachapuri,